All right. That was a lot of fun. I swear, I look more red even though I didn't burn myself. We got the points as soon as we go live. We got the points ready to go up here, and they are getting close. So with Ryan Blaney winning his first race of this season, first race he has won since winning the championship last year, he is now the 10th guy to lock himself in, meaning that this is your bubble cut line as we run. It's right past here, so if I'm looking a little higher above where the camera is, I swear I'm not seeing ghosts. I'm just seeing NBC put up some pretty good coverage, which we'll talk about in a moment. Spam corn while we're at it. Can be the band name or the emoji. Doesn't matter to me. But Martin Truex Jr. is plus 122 in 11th. Ross Chastain plus 71 in 12th. 13th, Ty Gibbs plus 70. Plus 66 for Alex Bowman in 14th. Busher plus 27 in 15th, and Bubba Wallace plus 6 in 16th. I got water today. After that, got Joey Logano minus 6 in 17th, minus 31 for Kyle Busch in 18th. 19th, Briscoe minus 44, and Todd Gilliland is 20th minus 97. I can get that playing again, so if that way I don't miss anything if something happens. But that is what we're looking at least right at the moment when it comes to the cut line. I thought that this was a fun race, a race that I think exceeded what most were saying it would be, which I think most were saying that this race would have been, a disaster with tires, the repave would have ruined the racing, and yada, 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 yada. But I think overall, this race was really fun. So I want to know in the chat right now, out of 10, 10 being the best race you've ever seen, 0 being the 2008 Brickyard 400, what'd you think of this race? Let me know. Let me know down in the chat. I want to see numbers flying through there. I give it personally an 8. I thought it was a very solid night. I think that there was a lot of pros and very few cons, and those cons were probably nitpicks. So I'd say 8, give or take. Very solid night for Iowa's debut in the Cup Series, and I like that too. Their victory lane right in front of the stands, in front of the fans, a sold out, really good looking sold out grandstand. You love to see it. I'm sure people are going to be really happy going back to Iowa next year. But can we rename this one the action track? Because it sure is a lot better than Richmond, even though it looks the same. But y'all came in here for some post-race coverage. Let's talk a little bit about this race. The Iowa Corn 350, 350 laps, 2 hours, 58 minutes, 36 seconds is the run time. 17 lead changes among 9 leaders. 8, count them, 8 caution flags on the night. Ryan Blaney, your defending Cup champion, locks himself into the playoffs now with 9 races remaining, I believe. 9 races remaining until the playoffs begin. Gets the win by 0.7 of a second over William Byron. 7.16 is the decimal point difference on that one. So Willie B comes home second. Chase Elliott, a solid third place run. Again, just solid runs, knocking them off left and right for Elliott. Then you got Bell in 4th. 5th, Ricky Stenhouse had a few issues under caution. We'll talk about that in a bit. Still comes home with a top 5 finish. Solid run for Ricky, best run of the year. Joey Logano, 6th place run, much needed tonight with where he was in the point standings. Josh Berry, 7th on the board, ran way better than that for a good part of the night. Again, we'll talk about his deal with Stenhouse, as well as the fact that Berry was kind of a battering ram tonight. Alex Bowman, a quiet 8th place finish, his 10th top 10 of the year. 9th is Daniel Suarez. We'll talk about him as well. There's a lot of guys to talk about in this race. A lot of notes that I took on this one. 10th is Brad Keselowski. Ross Chastain in the corn car comes home 11th. So one gets double one on that one. Todd Gilliland, solid 12th place run tonight. Front row overall, really solid. And on screen right now, at least on my end, I believe that is, that's Dave Blaney. The Blaneys all coming to celebrate. Awesome win for them. Justin Haley, 13th, probably the lowest I saw him running today in the second half of this race. A very great run for that Rick Ware team. They just keep climbing little by little up the ladder. Very good run by him today. And more proof that that team deserves a better caliber driver than Cody Ware. Carson Hocevar, 14th today. Final car on the lead lap. Good run for the rookie once more. I'm telling you, Hocevar is another one. He's just going to keep chipping away. I'm saying it straight up. He is the best one at Spire this season. Martin Truex Jr., first car one lap down in 15th after announcing his retirement this week. 16th is Noah Gragson. 17th, Bubba Wallace. 18th is Buescher. Then 19th, Dillon, and 20th is Harrison Burton. Corey LaJoie comes home 21st. 22nd is Tyler Reddick. 23rd, Michael McDowell. So from 15th place MTJ to 23rd place Michael McDowell, all of them are one lap down. And we'll continue on through here as we go 2 laps down. Denny Hamlin in 24th. Team just was out to lunch today. Missed the setup completely. 24th is probably where they're lucky to finish after how their car was. Got lucky even with fuel strategy and tire strategy and how the cautions fell. Still came home 2 laps down today. He was 34th at one point off of speed. Just not a good run for that 11, and a head-scratching run because that team usually runs well at these type of tracks. Ty Gibbs, 25th, 2 laps down as well. Tough run for him. John Hunter Nemechek, 26th, 2 down. Still best run of the weekend for him. 27th, Ryan Preece, 2 down, as is Chase Briscoe in 28th and Daniel Hemrick in 29th. 3 laps down for the next 3 of Austin Cindric in 30th. Zane Smith, 31st, and 32nd, Eric Jones, and Kaz Grala, 33rd, 5 off the pace. And last on the racetrack, Kyle Larson, who probably had the best car of the race, 36 laps down when all was said and done. 2 guys out of this race, Kyle Busch, 35th, and 36th. And last, A.J. Allmendinger. So, all the way through, we got the results up here for the Iowa Corn 350. I love that race name. There's so many race names that, like, you know, just are like, oh, whatever, or like tongue twisters. That one's just a nice, simple, fun name on that. Be sure to click that like button and subscribe. We do this after every single race, as long as, you know, we're able. The internet didn't get taken out tonight by the thunderstorms in my area. Thank God. So, second, just making sure I got everything ready to go, and I didn't realize just how much confetti they had. I'm surprised they didn't throw corn on the car. Let's talk about this race a little bit. I'm looking in the stands right now. Wow. So Fox, I just saw, did you see Fox is kicking UFL off Sundays for IndyCar, even though they kicked NASCAR to FS1 for UFL? It just shows how they feel. And you know what? While we're at it, let's just put a poll up. Spam poll in the chat if you want me to put a poll up before we go looking on into this race. Also, by the way, poll is up in the community tab if you want to vote on what you thought of this race. But I'm going to ask you this. There you go. Poll. I want people to look at poll the same way that the seagulls say mine in Finding Nemo. So I'm going to ask you to grade NBC's coverage. And I'm going to give you 4 options on this one. If I don't dump water on myself, and that was embarrassing. So here's your options. Out of 10, grade NBC's coverage. 9 or a 10, 6 to 8, 4 or 5, or 3 or worse. There we go. Start poll now. Grade NBC's coverage tonight. Overall, I thought it was pretty decent. You know, little nitpicks we can have here and there, but overall, I think after what we got the first 16 points races this year, a much, much better showing than we've gotten all season long. You know, I liked having more side-by-side coverage in the second half of this race. I liked the analysis more. I liked the cars were more vibrant. You could tell the colors on the cars were more vibrant, which is something that Fox really struggles with. I like using Highway Star as the start of the coverage. I like having them try new things, which is just making it not feel stale. And I think that's a really good thing. There's still things that I see in the chat we don't like, and I get Missing Junior in the booth. Definitely a loss for sure that I think takes it down a step. But I'd give it an 8 or 9. I thought it was a pretty solid coverage overall, and if they can improve on this, I think that it will help a lot. But let's get into this race, starting with the crowd really quick. Solid crowd. I know it's only like 30, maybe like, what is it, 30, 35,000, give or take. So now, not the biggest crowd ever, but optics-wise look good. Energy seemed to be high. They even had the little posters up in the stands doing like the American flag during the national anthem. Seemed like it was a really fun race to attend in person. And for those Iowa fans, and I'll say a lot of Minnesota and Illinois race fans who might not have that race nearby them, I think it's an awesome opportunity. They could have brought in enough stands to fit 70,000 people in here, and I'm pretty sure that they would have filled it up with the demand this year. I don't think they should. I think that having demand for this race and having people want to go to it and order early is the way to go about it. Maybe bring 40,000 seats next year, though. I think you could fill it out because these fans are hardcore fans. They love their racing. I can tell you as somebody who lived in Northern Illinois for most of my life, you might not expect it. I didn't see it, obviously, in school, but there is a hardcore underground base for racing up there, and especially short track racing. As someone who lived a mile away from the Rockford Speedway for the good part of my childhood and teen years, there is a base here, and they got a great track, I think, in Iowa Speedway. Thank you, Rusty Wallace, for that one. The only track on the Cup circuit, the only oval track at least, that does not have concrete walls, just a safer barrier. If you didn't notice, the track itself only has a safer barrier because it was built, in the post safety era, if you will. Just a great track, though, for racing and the fans, and I cannot wait to see the racing that this place puts on in the future. Let's talk, though. Enough about the broadcast. Enough about the track. Enough about the crowd. Let's talk about the racing here. Kyle Larson started on pole in this race. Blazing fast qualifying laps put up this weekend, and the start was actually pretty eventful. The whole race, I'd say, was eventful. You got the 5 and the 12 battling laps on end for the lead before Blaney moves the 5 out of the way, taking the lead early on, and then you get a caution right away by one of the 2 cars that are being shadowed basically for the first half of the race by NBC's pit reporters, Corey LaJoie, who basically gets caught up in a nice little accordion effect of the Spire cars all getting together. For those maybe asking, like, why the hell are we following the 7 car? Like, LaJoie is running 25th every week. It worked out pretty damn well. So good on them with that one. I will put a note here, though. After we got restarted and Larson got the lead, Corey LaJoie, on 4-lap fresher tires early on, managed to gain 12 spots in the first 12 laps of the green flag run. He was able to basically put minimally older tires to pretty good use. Tires did matter in this race. I know we were worried after the practice session with every 20 or so laps having a blowout or so, that this was just going to be an Indy 08 on steroids. NASCAR, I think, allowed the teams to make certain adjustments. I heard that the teams were making air pressure adjustments before the race to try and combat this, and it worked out pretty damn well. At this time, too, you also had Denny Hamlin in 34th going a lap down, 34th off speed. That team, I don't think, had top 20 speed all night. They were in the top 20 thanks to some good breaks. I don't know what the hell happened, though. They were off, and especially when you look compared early on to Ty Gibbs, who was up front in the top 10, or at least not top 10, top 15 at points, and especially Bell, who had one of the best cars out there tonight. It's kind of a head scratcher. It's kind of weird seeing the 2 younger Gibbs guys outrunning 2 older ones, as Truex really wasn't a factor tonight either. Very hit or miss for the Gibbs team. We did have a caution with A.J. Allmendinger getting up into the wall. which would start our tire lottery of strategy here, where the 99, the 6 stay out. Suarez gets up front, but of course Larson immediately takes the lead. He was the fastest car out there, and if it wasn't for shenanigans later on in the race, I'm pretty sure Larson would have won this race, or at least would have closely contested Blaney. Blaney, I think, had the second best car tonight, and it was pretty close, I'd say, between the 5 and the 12. But with that, we got, again, Blaney getting past Larson on the high side for the lead. Gibbs smacking the wall. Nothing really happened, though. He was able to continue on just fine. Blaney wins stage 1 over Larson, Suarez, Byron, and Barry. Again, Barry had a really good night. Just the 7th place finish, probably not saying how fast that 4-car really was. Then you got Logano, LaJoie, Keselowski, Elliott, and Busch, the top 10 in stage 1. We're going to end the poll right here. I asked you to grade NBC's coverage tonight. 51% of you graded it a 9 or a 10 out of 10. 45% said a 6 to an 8, so still pretty solid. 2% said a 4 or a 5. 1% of you said a 3 or worse for NBC's coverage tonight. So I would say a 97, 96% net positive tonight to a 3% net negative tonight. But on to stage 2 here. We have the 12 and the 5 up front. We get it restarted again. Larson is leading again while the pack is 3, 4, 5 wide. Those restarts were hectic. You could see guys trying to get as much track position as possible early in the run. And you did see those early run guys who were saving, like Chase Elliott, versus those early run merchants like Kyle Larson. And then you'd see Blaney, for instance, was someone who was really fast earlier in the run and then maintained. But on the other end of it, you had guys like Bell and Elliott who were really, really fast as the run went on. Bell was another one who I think he was always the 3rd best car tonight. There might have been others that got ahead of him in speed, but there were always ones that fell behind him. He was like the 3rd or 4th best guy all night long. Still solid 4th place finish for him. That's going to be good, at least points wise. Still got to remember, points do matter when it comes to seeding. But from there, we get the restart and immediately a caution. John Hunter Nemechek kind of overcooks it into 3 and 4 with Gregson. The 10 was sideways in front of the field. I know they continued going on, and I know that there'll be times even later tonight that we harp on this. I'm going to say it was a fair caution. I'll have a poll ready to go for when we talk more about the later caution. I'd say it was a fair caution. There's times that you have the entire second half of the field piling on into that wreck, and it's a 10-car wreck. I get NASCAR might have been a little trigger finger with it, but I don't think it's egregious in any way. At least that's what I give for it. I know there's going to be some that aren't really crazy about that call, but the Gregson one was a fair caution. We get it restarted again. Blaney again back to the lead, though Larson, after restarting 35th within 20 laps, is in the top 10. Again, fresh tires mattered. Tires mattered tonight, and this is like that medium, I'd say. This is the medium between, I think, the rock-hard tires that we hate at short tracks that don't wear like the first 70 laps of a run at Martinsville, and what we got at Bristol, which I really, really liked, but I think some could say was a little egregious. I think this was the perfect middle ground. And if this is around the area that Goodyear can hit on, both for short tracks and just racing in general, I'll take it. If you're asking who won, we have the ticker up top to look at. That way I don't have to go through the field every 20 minutes on these. I see some people asking who won, just letting you know there. Oh, man, do we get NAD? That sucks. If some of you got NAD, I apologize. I try to make sure those are turned off. Anyway, let's get back to it. Michael McDowell had a right front going down. Zane Smith as well. This was an issue that some had tonight with right fronts going down and other people like that. But, again, it wasn't terrible. It all, I think, went back to the drivers themselves, which I think is what we as fans should want. From there, we get green flag pit stops. Busch had pitted early, and again, he was running top 10, top 5 at different points, having a very solid night. But he pit early with some issues, and we'll talk more about Busch later. He had worse issues. I see people laughs in YouTube Premium. I have Premium, no ads for me. Wow, good on NBC putting on the points earned, by the way, as well. So for any of you who are curious to why certain people move up or down in the points or have better regular season points, there you go. I like that. NBC, just the little things that matter on those. But we get around 165, about halfway in this race, a round of green flag pit stop. You got guys like Byron pitting, starting the cycle. During this, you have guys like Chastain, as well as others having flat tires during this. You have Truex speeding, so any chance he had of improving and getting back in the maybe a top 10 finish tonight, kind of dashed with that. Again, able to get 15th on the night, but not really too crazy when it comes to stuff to look at. But we get probably the most, I would say, controversial portion of the night. And this is one for a poll. Spam poll if you want a poll. But it is the caution in the middle of this cycle. Was Daniel Hemrick's incident, we'll say, was that incident worth a caution? I'm going to put the poll up right now before I say exactly what I think, because I don't want to influence it too much. I think I know where this is going. But was Hemrick's incident worth a caution? I'm going to take a drink of water before I lose my voice. I don't want to sound like Steve Letarte did yesterday. I'm going to say no. I get that he went up into the wall a little bit, but you had a guy earlier who spun almost in front of the field, who was right in front of everybody, didn't call it. You had guys going up into the wall earlier who did the exact same thing and you don't call it. Why call it now? I say wait until you see either a giant chunk of rubber or a tire carcass fly off or something. I say no. That was not worth the caution. I don't understand, unless y'all are trolling. I think a lot of you are trolling, but I don't see how 8 or 9% could say it was worth the caution. If you give me a valid reason why, if there's a reason NASCAR gave that the broadcast didn't cover, okay, I'll at least take it in consideration. But for me, I don't see how this in any way was a caution. And this really flipped the race around a ton. We get restarted on lap 189. I believe it is Stenhouse and Byron up front. And with that, you know, they all hold strong. Byron kind of slides into the 47. Larson gets the lead while the field's 3 and 4 wide behind him. Wins stage 2 over Barry, Elliott, Blaney, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. Again, a lot of these guys really vaulted up the running order due to this caution, shuffling it up. Buescher 7th, Todd Gilliland 8th. Again, solid run for Todd Gilliland tonight. That's why he's back up in the top 20 in points. Then you got Brad Keselowski in 9th. And again, top 10 stage finish for Justin Haley. Those are things I think that team should be looking at. Have those little moral victories. Top 15 finishes, top 10 finishes, top 10 in stages. They're not going to make the playoffs this year unless they have just a magically great run when it comes to maybe rain hitting at a super speedway while they're up front. Wink, wink. Or say just luck of the draw in some way. But what they need to look at is these solid runs, getting to be a solid top 20 team week in and week out. Basically just do everything that Rick Ware Racing isn't known for in a good way. So we get to the final stage. Final stage started explosively, ended kind of mellow, but in a good way. Still solid racing towards the end. So we get restarted on lap 219 of this race. The Roush cars up front. Buescher goes way out wide. And then we get a wreck where Larson, admittedly, the lap before kind of forced it 3 wide. Everyone was doing that all night, though. Suarez slides out of the corner, gets into him, crashes him right into Denny Hamlin, ruins both of their nights. I don't see how that was not Suarez's fault. I get that, you know, he's loose, so it's not intentional. I'm not blaming him that it's intentional. I don't see how that's not on Suarez. I know the team's going to be biased. Let me know in the chat. Like, just 5 or 99. Spam the number in the chat. Whose fault do you think it was? Because I can at least accept people saying that, yeah, Larson forced the issue. To see some saying Bubba on that one because they were 4-5 wide during it. But it's not egregious per se. It happens all the time where guys get loose underneath people. It happens on these restarts. But it is funny being like it's all on the 5. I get, I'm saying 5 patience and all that, and I get that part of it. But I'm going to put it on the 99 majority on that one. And then you got there's always someone I blame Danica. By the way, we're going to end the poll now. 9 out of 10 of you say that Hemrick's incident, we'll call it that, was not worth the caution, as YouTube then changes it into 89% because why math correctly? By the way, click the like button. We're almost we can hit 200 pretty easily by the end of this baby. And from here, we get it restarted again with, 120 or so to go. The 17, the 4 now up front. They make a little contact. Barry gets the lead. 17 comes back, though, clears him. And I will say, Ford tonight, I think, showed out pretty well. We talked early in the season about Ford's struggles. They've definitely improved on that, put a lot of it behind them. It was not a perfect night, obviously. You're going to have your duds in there. But solid night for 2 of the Penske guys, obviously with Blaney winning. But Logano was running up there. He's now right on Bubba Wallace's tail when it comes to the cut line, and especially with Kyle Busch having issues. And Briscoe, I believe, coming home. Where did he come home? 28th. Great night for Logano to capitalize. I'm just looking at the way the points are, and you got Buescher comes home 18th on the night. Bubba Wallace, I'm looking down the line, comes home 17th. So a solid night when it comes to you Joey Logano fans. But let's get back to where we're at now. I'm just like glass case of emotion on this one. Barry again to the lead. It's just that back and forth. I'm telling you, Barry and that team continue this, and my prediction of them finishing 3rd, being the best rookie finish of the year, will be out the window completely. With 91 to go, we do get a caution with Buescher in the wall, flat tire, and you got guys taking 2, like Blaney, Logano, and Stenhouse, all of which finish in the top 6. Race-winning move by the 12 team doing that. Tires mattered, but you could still get away with strategies like that. Under caution, Barry gets into the back of the 47, by the way. I just think it was maybe the 4 not paying attention. A lot of people put that on Stenhouse, but he was slowing down for Blaney, who was slowing down, and Barry got into the back of him. I mean, if this is an insurance company asking you what the hell happened, it's going on the 4's record, I would say. But we get restarted. It's a 12 and 22 out front. Blaney gets ahead. You have Busch, who gets a flat, has left rear problems, has different mechanical problems, and after trying to get back out there, he's done for the day. And from there, it's just a run to the finish. It's a run to the finish. It's between the 12, 24, and 9 for a bit. 9 backs off, isn't able to keep pace, even though they were for a bit. You had others with tire issues and flat tires that kind of shuffled up the mid-pack, but it was between the 12 and the 24. Byron would close in a few tenths of a lap, then Blaney would pull out a few more. It was just a maintained lead for the most part through lap traffic, and with it, Ryan Blaney in front of the family, 80 or so of them the way it looks and the way they said on TV, gets the dub, and just a solid night for the 12. So again, I want to see, because I know a lot of new I see there's a lot of new people coming in the chat throughout this stream as we hit the 30-minute mark. Out of 10 being the best race ever, 0 being the 08 Brickyard 400. Again, I want you to spam what you thought of this race. Again, I gave it an 8 personally. I gave it an 8, but I want to see what you guys say. Maybe your opinions change. Yeah, we get, like Nap Racing Fan says, we get corn this week, lobster next week, and hopefully no tinted windows. Forecast so far looks so good. So, but yeah, about what we're seeing, again, a lot of 8s and 7s tonight. I think everyone is pretty solid on this race. And I'll look, before we go into the super and member chats, I'll look at what the poll is saying. Poll is pretty positive as well in the community tab. So, hey, it's just one of those good nights, just a solid night of racing. And by the way, this Wednesday night will be live on Danny B Talks channel for NWP, so definitely come out and see that as well. Talk all about this and all the silly season and retirement news that you can handle. Real quick, let's get to these chats. Super remember, I'll continue to look. I see like Snappy saying this race was fun as heck. Others spamming. Yeah, if you want to spam 12 for Blaney, go for it. Spam 12, spam corn, spam everything you want. We're one. Yep, we just hit 200 likes too. So go on ahead. Have fun with it, y'all. Go wild. Go wild. I see crappy ass parts in there, of course. That's never going away. But 12 gifted memberships. Thank you, Micah Kelly Gilliam, for that, as well as the 2-month member chat from Michael Paul saying, way to go, Blaney. Hashtag why I love NASCAR. And M. Martin Fan for Life for the 15-month member chat. Finally, congrats, YRB. Yeah, I mean, just, again, solid night. And I can see why people are happy. Popular driver wins. Good storyline with it. Just all around, I'd say a pretty good race for NASCAR. We're seeing a lot of corn and a lot of 12s. Hey, you know what? You can even go this far with it if you want. Spam corn if you want, with the band name if you want to go with it. Andrew, thank you for the 2. Thoughts on Le Mans? Alpine screwed badly. I'm going to be honest, I was not able to see a lot of it. I was pretty busy this past week. I heard a lot of people, seemed to have fun with it. I saw the Twitter engagement with it, but I was very busy this weekend. TJ, thank you for the 2. Good race. Some room for improvement, but I like it. Agreed. You know, definitely room for improvement. I think repaving the whole track would have been preferable, but I'm pretty sure they didn't find out until the actual announcement that it was confirmed they'd have a cup race. And Iowa winters, you don't have enough time. Bobby Blair, thank you for the super chat. We actually have post-race. Yeah. If NBC keeps doing a good job, there might not be a need for me to come on here. Kidding. I will be on here. Don't worry. We'll be live after every race. Mark for the 2. Happy as a Blaney fan. NBC over Fox by a long shot. Agreed. NASCAR Fanatic. My internet provider and Fubo ruined the race for me. Terrible internet coverage and race coverage. Racing was good, though. 7 out of 10. Congrats to the 12. Steve-O for the 5. Great race. 8 out of 10. Best racing on a short track in a long time. Should we keep Iowa instead of rebuilding Auto Club and swap a date with Richmond? Obviously, I'd say keep Iowa. I don't want Auto Club to be demolished for nothing. Please, at least NASCAR, get us a short track race there. I lose hope the longer it goes, but I do think it'll happen. As for replacing or swapping a date with Richmond, I mean, we got Iowa on the schedule now. I'd say if they're going to swap it to anything, it's going to be at least one of the dates. Even if Richmond is kept in the spring, will probably be given to Mexico if they have that race, or Montreal, one or the other. So I think Richmond having 2 dates, I think those days are numbered, much to Dale Jr.'s, sky is falling, Chicken Little reaction of that. I love how he said that we're getting less short track races. Like, as we get a Bowman Gray race, as we get a Iowa race that would, in the long run take that over, as we hopefully get an Auto Club race overall, short track races would be all right. We'll be getting more short tracks as time goes on, I think. Snappy says, did you see the ARCA race? The coverage was great. Yes, I did, and I did want to give a shout out to that lead announcer. I apologize. I learned his name literally the other night, so apologies that I don't have it memorized off on standby. Let's see. Eric Brennan was the lead announcer for anyone who wanted to know his name for the ARCA race. If you watch it, by the way, ARCA race was actually really good. I know the jokes people can make about it, but he's also the announcer for the Cars Tour along with Blake McCandless, both really good announcers. He knocked it out of the park the other night, and if anyone is worried about the future of NASCAR commentary, I don't think you need to be. Dude knocked it out of the park, and he deserves all the love and praise he's been getting for it. So definitely give him a follow on Twitter too. If you watch Cars Tours races, and this is probably telling that I have not been able to watch many Cars Tours races, you probably know who he is, but damn, he was really, really on it. So congrats to him for the opportunity, for how good of a job he did, and deserving all the praise. I will put his name, Eric Brennan is his name. I will put it in the chat for everybody in all caps. Eric Brennan, great announcer. Did a great job, brought a lot of enthusiasm, and I would love to see him do the truck broadcast. Please, Fox, please have him do the lead announcing for the truck races. I'm actually like not trying to be funny at this point. I'm being serious. Fred Dog, dank contrarian opinion. One race in and we get shoved to cable for the Olympic trials for a bunch of no-name swimmers in prime time. Bring back Fox. No, I'm going to say no to that. I don't like, though, the NBC does move NASCAR around and basically stops racing in America for 2 weeks for a bunch of games that no one really cares about anymore. If you look at the ratings, they continue to fall and fall and fall. I don't care about the Olympics. Never have, though, so that's maybe a biased opinion on my end. Jan, thank you for the super chat. Was the hiccup on the timing board just an international broadcast or American too? Probably international. The American one I think was pretty damn good. I think so. I'm not sure. I see Rat Cross Studio in there. Iceberg for race commentator. I mean, if I was ever asked, I would, but I would also say my buddy Jonathan Ramos, IDK player, probably should get the call before me. He's the only reason I'm bearable on broadcasts I'm on. Rocks, reviews, and reactions for the tube. Glad Truex rebounded from nearly last to 15th. Yeah, good rebound. Could have been a better day, but that car definitely was in the middle for the most part. Brian, thank you for the 5. Being from around Springfield, Illinois area, NASCAR is pretty big around here. Happy to see Blaney win after being at Gateway in person. Go 12. Yeah, Illinois is a very, very quietly under the radar for racing fans. Doesn't matter if it's IndyCar or short track racing, NASCAR. Illinois is slept on, and I hope that there's a good crowd for Chicago in a couple weeks, but 2, when Chicagoland Speedway comes back, because I am almost certain it will at this point, got to show up in person, got to support it in person, have to have a big crowd like we saw at Iowa tonight. I know whenever it comes back, I will be there. Man, we'll definitely be having a meetup with people on that one, even if I'm the only one having to make it set up on that. TJ, thank you for the 5. Larson forced a lot of 3-wide racing through the middle early on. I liked what Suarez said after the spin. FYI, not a Larson hater. No, I'm not accusing you of it. I still think that ultimately, since they were side-by-side 3-wide for the most part of the lap before, I still put it on Suarez. What date would Chicagoland get? Chicago streets? Yeah, that would be more than likely. Just it's the same area. I would say if they're doing street races, they're probably going to take a date away from whatever race is around that same area. That way you don't take the market out, but maybe you capitalize on it too. I think that's what they'll do. I see others. Illinois is meh when it comes to motorsports. You haven't found the people that like it then. There's a lot of race fans and racers from there. It's a place that gave you Chad Knaus. Fred Dog for another 5. What's the make or break point for Busch? I don't think he can win his way in. So at what race is there no return points wise if he keeps running poorly? Well, I can look at the schedule really quick. While we're here. Because just for an FYI on everybody, for the races remaining until the playoffs, you got Iowa, New Hampshire, Nashville, Chicago, Pocono, Indianapolis, Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington for the regular season on this one. If you're looking points-wise, well, it really just depends on points-wise on it. But if we're gonna say Busch is like 35, 40 points out, or we get another winner, it's just you got to go for the win. But if we're going to say points-wise, if let's just say 30 to 40 points out, you're that bubble line now, but a couple weeks from now wouldn't be. I would say Indianapolis. up to that Olympic break. Busch has been really good in the past at Pocono, really good at Indianapolis on the oval for the most part of his career. New Hampshire is going to be a little difficult. He can be very hit or miss there and have a lot of problems there. But I would see him, if he's able to be solid through New Hampshire, Nashville, and Chicago, I would think he would have good runs at Pocono and Indianapolis. Richmond's been off as of late, especially for RCR. So that point, like if by August he is not within 5 to 10 and it's a pretty close battle among not just 16th, but maybe those a little above it, I think that's the point of no return personally. But I'm saying Busch is much closer to that point than I would say closer to contending. Because I think he's much closer to being where Briscoe is, both obviously points-wise, but just how fast he is, than he is to, say, a Joey Logano, a Bubba Wallace, a Chris Buescher. You Busch fans probably aren't used to this, man. Probably aren't used to this at this point. Jan, for another super chat here. 5 looked like on rails today. Weekly greetings from 4:30 a.m. in Germany. Well, I'm glad to see that you stayed up for it. I would say that 5 team again. Might not get the results. That's just the way Larson can be, where it's just sometimes going all out like that can cost you or get you in those positions for different things to cost you. But that 5 team has been so damn fast this year that they'll easily recover. And yeah, they were on a rail. I'd say them and the 12. Those are the ones to beat tonight. Viper for the 2. What did you think about this race not on Peacock? I would say if any NBC race from this point on, like after this year, should be simulcast. That's just my take. I know it's probably difficult. I know Peacock has its issues too. But put it on the cock, as David Land would say. That's going to get taken out of context. Tyler and Friends Gaming for the 5. It was a good race, even with my Iowa biased 8.5 out of 10 race. Being from Iowa, I will be there next year. Iowa doubleheader, like what IndyCar does. I don't think doubleheader. I like having one race. I like having one race a weekend. Doubleheaders are fun, and I'm not going to be angry if a race gets a doubleheader, but if you're going to do a doubleheader, what you need to do is have a Sunday afternoon race and then a Monday night race, because Saturday afternoon's not good for ratings. Saturday night races, not good for ratings. Sunday afternoon and night races, and then a night race on primetime. I get that Tuesday through Thursday is really bad for ratings, but it's like Friday through Monday is like a really good area. And you know what? We have a couple of different sporting leagues that show us that it works well. We have a couple of instances NASCAR-wise that show us that Mondays can be good, even when it's unscheduled. Why not try one scheduled race on a Monday night if it's a doubleheader? You get at least good ratings on Sunday. Maybe you'll even get good ratings on Monday. And if it doesn't work, you just go back to what you did before. That's to me. I like Sunday night races. If you're going to have night races, though, make them Sunday night. I'm not a fan of Saturday night races just because I also don't like sitting around and waiting an extra day for NASCAR to come back, because I'm that loser that does that. I'm the Patrick and SpongeBob meme where it's like, well, what do you do when I don't race on Sundays? Wait for you to come back. Eric W., thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. There's been a lot of gifted memberships tonight. I appreciate it, and a lot of those people out there appreciate it as well. And then DMAC Sky for the 5. I don't get why everyone says the number 48 always backs into wins. The 12 has had a couple more wins and a championship that he backed into. I'd blame that more on the system than Blaney personally. But yeah, I think Bowman gets unfairly treated when it comes to his wins. I think it's being the fourth best. He's the 4th best guy at Hendrick, and he's easily every week a top 10 guy. That just, I think, shows the strength of the team. But I do think he gets unfair hate with that. And I wanted to look on the wins list. Where does Blaney rank now? Blaney solely ranks 62nd all-time with 11 wins. He's the only driver at the moment in NASCAR Cup history with 11 wins. No other driver is 12 as well. So next up for him to tie for 59th would be William Byron, Dick Rathman, and Tim Richmond. Pretty good list. Of course, wouldn't be a stream of mine without the paramedics going by. And he just surpassed Donnie Allison, Clint Boyer, and Sterling Marlin, who he was tied with for 10 wins. So, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And then Timmy Wolf for the 14-month member chat says, really enjoyed the broadcast, much better than Fox. Agreed. Spam the paramedics in the chat. What a perfect way to end. I was going to have you spam corn again, but you know what? Spam the ambulance sirens. Spam those in the chat. We'll end off there. Subscribe, by the way. Again, if you are new, we will be live after every single Cup, Xfinity, and truck race for the remainder of the season, unless weather doesn't permit or internet doesn't permit. Quick news for anyone who's attending. I will be at Nashville for at least the Cup race. More than, I'm 95% sure, the Xfinity race. Maybe not the truck race, though. So I will be in Nashville. So if you're going, say hi. I'll be at the Nashville Fairgrounds Thursday that week as well. So I'll be at pretty much everything. So if you see me, say hi. I am always willing to talk, as you probably have gathered from me talking damn near an hour about a race that ended an hour ago. So if you're there, say hi. And if not, look out for Eric, because the tall man will be there, and I'll probably be around him outside the track a little bit. Seaborder Coastline, thank you for the 5 here, says, great race and Booth, go Blaney, please, back-to-back, can't wait for Ross to win, and it was good to see Barry and Suarez up front. Yes, it was. Danny B also will be there. It'll be me, Danny B, and Eric Estep at Nashville, the NWP trio. So be sure to watch that Wednesday night on Danny B's channel. Nashville sleepover at the Icebergs? No, David Bell, no. If anything, it'll be at Danny's. Yeah, Nap Racing fan. I miss Carnival! Oh, we got a Carnival! Yeah. So I'll be at the Cup and more than likely Xfinity race. I believe IDK player Jonathan Ramos will be there, and he'll be announcing at the Nashville Fairgrounds that week. So again, say hi to all of us. We are all willing to talk your ear off. We'll make you be like, you'll come up to us and then tell us, okay, you need to shut up. I need to go somewhere. If you said that, at least reference the fact that you got it from my stream. If you say that to me, so I'm not like offended or something. Probably would be offended. But it would be pretty damn funny if you said that. All right, I've rambled on, as Robert Plant would say, a little too much here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy what's left of your Sunday night. I'm going to go and watch Smiling Friends, and I will see you guys this Wednesday on Danny B's channel, and also some videos this week as well. Till then, have a good one. Later.